This is the Data Privacy Detective. And today we're with Mike Fitzpatrick, the Chief Privacy Officer of the Big Apple, New York City. Mike, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Joseph. It's my pleasure to be here.
Now, Mike, you had the Office of Information Privacy within New York City, and that's within the larger Office of Technology and Innovation. And the job of your office really is to promote and advance privacy protection across all the city's operations and establish citywide policies and protocols that have to do with PII, or personally identifiable information. Well, what do you actually do? Help our listeners understand.
So we've, in New York City, we've had a local privacy law since 2017, known as the Identifying Information Law. That law intends and does create a framework for how New York City agencies interact with identifying information in the course of their operations. Includes the requirement that every city agency have a privacy officer designated by their agency head or commissioner, and creates the role of our city's chief privacy officer, which has the responsibility of carrying that local law implementation, as well as setting citywide privacy policy for agencies.
That's great. So each agency, it might be a healthcare facility, it might be the police department, and any agency at all, then that kind of gives you a peer group in a way. You're the city's designated CPO, but then you have people to work with to kind of help create a culture of privacy. Is that overstating what that's oversimplifying these?
No, that's I think you're hitting the exact right notes. I characterize we've got a community of privacy professionals here in New York City that run the full gambit of government services, ranging from police, fire, healthcare, and everything in between. It's truly a remarkable achievement.
Well, that's going to certainly increase the compliance with federal law, state law that city agencies, like almost anybody else, have to meet. But also, it needs to create some balance, doesn't it, between the needs for public safety and public treatment of in accordance with the healthcare law, but also respect the essential privacy information of New York City residents and visitors.
That's it. That's exactly right. We operate, of course, there are legal requirements that govern how certain sets of information are regulated, as well as our local law containing requirements that agencies interact within the bounds of identifying information in furtherance of their mission or purpose. We endeavor to have a very tailored, structured approach in alignment with city operations.
Yeah, well, it really is going to help New York City have a culture of privacy protection, balanced, of course, against the essential needs of any city or any employer. You have 300,000 employees that work for New York City, enormous operation. So let me ask you this: what should any major U.S. city have a CPO, Chief Privacy Officer? Why would that be?
I think it's something that folks should be thinking long and hard about, particularly as technology becomes a foundational element, and increasingly so, of how government services are provided to the public. You know, municipalities are in the front lines of public service, and it's important to have a privacy office that's supporting that very critical work.
Yeah, and I know New York City's taken a real lead here. You've published February 2023 citywide privacy protection policies and protocols, very lengthy, 9 key privacy principles, something any municipality or state for that matter ought to really take a look at. And I think you've done something with Fordham. Why don't you tell us about that?
That's thank you for bringing up our great partnership with Fordham Law School. Last year, we partnered with them to create a really first of its kind externship for privacy interested law students, where they've spent a semester with us learning about our office and its operations, as well as providing the professional development opportunity for my staff, who now get to carry themselves and call themselves adjunct professors of law, which is quite an achievement.
Well, let's round third and head to home. What 1 or 2 top tips, would you have for other cities about data privacy?
Absolutely. You know, when we think about privacy, it's inherently tailored to and connected to the norms of the community. And so when they're thinking about establishing a privacy office, they should be thinking about the expectations that the folks that they serve have as it relates to privacy protection. And the second element would be transparency. of critical importance when we're talking about privacy governance is telling that story publicly, providing that confidence to the public that they are safe and welcome in seeking services from their municipality. And if you'll indulge me, you mentioned our 2023 policy updates and our
Yes, I thought it was
toolkit.
terrific. Great guide any city ought to look at. Go ahead.
I'll tease our forthcoming update. We intend to publish the end of this month our next revisions to each of those documents. We do a biennial review citywide of our privacy policies, and stay tuned for those updates at the end of this month at NYC Office of Tech for more information.
Mike Fitzpatrick, CPO of the Big Apple, thank you so much for joining us today. Any last words?
Thank you, Joseph. I very much appreciate the opportunity to connect with you and the community here.
Thank you. And as always, listeners, I'll remind you, protecting your personal privacy begins